innovative and professional learning environments in support of the interests of Jamaica and our partner nations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the President of the Caribbean Military Academy, Brigadier Raj Mason.
Let us pray. Oh God, you challenge us to produce many great and beautiful works. You challenge us to use our lives and our living for the transformation of our people into your likeness and for the building up of the common good. We give you thanks, Lord, for this Caribbean Military Academy, for its work in this Jamaica Defense Force, and for the wider region and partner nations as we seek to train persons to the highest standard. Today, as we meet to launch the website of the Caribbean Military Academy, we pray, Almighty God, that you will be stirred up in us as we share in the proceedings, but even more so that we may be able to share with others works that are accomplished here. So be with us, we pray. Continue to bless and use this brigade for your greater glory and to the honor and glory of your name, that through education, through learning, we may share in partnership and in fellowship, and all people may become one as we seek to build peace. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. Acting Chief of Defense Staff and the President of the Caribbean Military Academy, Brigadier Raj Mason, members of the General Staff Board, other officers, Dr. Luz Longsworth, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the UWI Open Campus, Lieutenant Colonel Simon Westlake, UK Defense Attaché to the Caribbean, Force Sergeant Major, MCPOI A. Christie, other enlisted ranks, our regional and other partners streaming online, members of the media, other invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Faye Ellington, and it gives me great pleasure to be the Master of Ceremonies for this very important event, the launch of the Caribbean Military Academy website. Allow me to welcome some persons who are joining us virtually. From the Caribbean, we have representatives from St. Lucia, Barbados, Belize, Bahamas, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, the Dominican Republic, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana. And we're not done. We do have people from Central America, and we're pleased to have a representative from Guatemala. And from the continent of Africa, let me welcome you to Jamaica. We have representatives from Botswana, Tanzania, South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, and Burkina Faso. We invite all of you to just prepare yourselves for what I think is going to be a really informative hour or so of what this website has to offer. And at the end of the afternoon, media, I know you're here and you have questions that you might want to ask. We will do that at the end. So very special welcome to members of the media. I'd like to just give you a little bit of information on the Caribbean Military Academy, the foremost military academic institution in the region, providing relevant, accredited, internationally recognized tertiary level military training, education, and certification. The CMA houses 6 centers of training excellence to meet the training needs of local and regional training militaries. I'm certain you'll hear more about that from the President shortly. But at this time, it gives me great pleasure to, and let me thank also Lieutenant Colonel Reverend Denson Smalling, for the Force Chaplain, for our opening prayer. And now I'd like to ask Lieutenant Colonel Blair Waddington, Vice President of Caribbean Military Academy, to bring remarks. Sir?
Are we hearing? There we go. Force Sergeant Major, men, women of the Jamaica Defense Force, our special guests that we have online, both in the Caribbean and abroad, good afternoon. I wish to take this opportunity to welcome you all to the Caribbean Military Academy. The Caribbean Military Academy being the foremost institution in the region, providing military training to both our Caribbean neighbors and around the globe, to our other special partners, both in Central and South America and in the continent of Africa. We look forward to further opportunities to be able to train together, to spend the time together, and to learn and be able to gain from our experiences both in the training environment, both on the military side and on the academic side. What has always been said is no man is an island, and this is certainly the case here in the CMA. We are an institution that's been brought together by partnership with both other nations, but more specifically with our partnership of our local university, the University of the West Indies, and the University of West Indies Open Campus, to allow us to be able to reach out to our other nations around the world to be able to provide the level of training that we need to have to see all of our soldiers, officers, have the accredited training to be able to leave the force and go on to that next level in the civilian world. This is also true with our partners of the British military and the Canadian military and the American military. But in this specific case, it's our partners with the Royal Military Academy in Sandhurst that's a very important factor. We've been establishing programs across the broad spectrum of training within the CMA. It's moved from flight training, maritime training, and we're looking at other ways that we can continue to advance, but not just in the case of providing typical military training, but to have it accredited through an institution such as the University of West Indies. And this is what we're doing. And it's at all levels, from NCOs right through to the time when they are able to be commissioned as officers, if that be the case, or they retire, and officers straight through to their senior ranks and before they leave to go either into the civilian world and their next phase of their life, but to also have all the levels that they need to have. So bachelor's, master's, and perhaps PhDs. And this is for both officers and men. Because the CDS, the Chief of Defense Staff of the Jamaica Defense Force, has seen it very important to have education as a keynote within the advancement of our soldiers and officers in the force. And the CMA has been tasked to make that happen. And we're moving ahead with that at a high rate, I might add, and continuing to be looking out for areas that we can work in partnership with organizations such as Sandhurst and other academic institutions, military academic institutions, and civilian institutions around the world. So I take this time to welcome you to one level where we work into getting our name, what we're all about, and how we can be reached from across the globe, which is through our new website, which is the reason for our meeting today. We're taking this opportunity to show you what we've been proud of been working on for the last few months, that will be working in conjunction with the University of West Indies, and it will also have ties to all of our regional partners and international partners, as I mentioned earlier. This is all very important because certainly this institution is not an island to itself. This institution is a means of going broader across the globe. We're here together to do that. We're here together to do that in partnership, and I thank you all for joining us today and taking part in this launch of our website and to learn a little bit more about the programs that we have to offer within the CMA. Once again, in closing, I thank you very much. Please enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Colonel Blair Waddington. I am removing this temporarily, particularly so that our friends online can see that I'm really not a disembodied voice, but I'm here in person and participating in this very important event. You may see on your program that I'm going to be giving an overview of the website, but I'm not going to steal the President's thunder. I will speak a little bit about it, though. And you heard Lieutenant Colonel Waddington speaking about the partnerships. He said it about 3 or 4 times. And so the partnership is a partnership with people of military background and historic experience like Sandhurst. Partnership with our first indigenous university in Jamaica, the University of the West Indies. Partnerships with other persons who have technical expertise. And so when you get to look at the website, you will indeed see that it is at an advanced tertiary level, and that is where the offering is coming to you from. And so you will get a chance to see it. For those of you who are either in your offices or at home, might I just tell you what the website is? It's Caribbean Military Academy, very easy to remember, the Caribbean Military Academy.edu.jm. So I'm going to invite you in your own time, but perhaps you should wait until this part of the event is over because so many important things will be said here to have a look at that website. One of the key ingredients is that they're offering so much to Jamaica, to the region, and ultimately to the world, that they intend in the future to, and will start the training program, the initial officer training program, and you'll hear more about that by looking at this video at this time.
In today's global and political context, the need to collaborate and pool resources and expertise in order to mount effective responses to identified threats has become a distinct reality in the Caribbean. This has created the need to have common training standards which adhere to international best practices and ensure interoperability. The Caribbean Military Academy, CMA, the foremost military academic institution in the region, providing relevant, accredited, internationally recognized tertiary-level military training, education, and certification. The CMA houses 6 centers of training excellence to meet the training needs of local and regional training militaries. These are the Caribbean Institute of Professional Military Education in Monique, St. Anne, the Caribbean Military Technical Training Institute in Up Park Camp, Kingston, the Caribbean Military Aviation School at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston, the Caribbean Military Maritime Training Center in Port Royal, Kingston, the Caribbean Special Tactics Center in Monique, St. Anne, and the Caribbean Infantry Training Center at the Newcastle Hill Station in the Blue Mountain Range. The newest addition to CMA Newcastle's suite of training programs is the Initial Officer Training Program, IOTP. As a single regional military academic institution and the officer training program of choice for small states with defense forces and or paramilitary forces, the IOTP will become the birthplace of the next generation of officers who will lead the military men and women of the region.
So the idea is, with the website and with moving in this direction, persons will be able to go on to the website and register for programs. So you bear that in mind as we move on. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the next speaker, and I would dare say my colleague, but my senior in terms of the position she has held at the University of the West Indies. Might I just give you a little bit of information on Dr. Luz Longsworth. She's the Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of the West Indies Open Campus. And she's in charge of global affairs as a Pro-Vice Chancellor. She holds a doctorate in Business Administration and Higher Education Management from the University of Bath in the United Kingdom. Dr. Longsworth is a graduate of the University of the West Indies, where she earned her BA in Spanish and French first-class honors, and an MBA marketing degree, and also a Master of Arts degree in Hispanic Studies from Queen's University in Ontario, Canada. In 2016, Dr. Longsworth was made an honorary fellow of the Commonwealth of Learning. There's so much more, but I think she would get my head if I went on much longer. Could you help me welcome Dr. Luz Longsworth?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you for shortening that bio because it would have been longer than my speech. I know that the protocol has been established, but I wish to greet most warmly the President of the CMA, Brigadier Raj Mason, and also Lieutenant Colonel Simon Westlake, my colleague, Lieutenant Colonel Blair Waddington, our officers of the Jamaica Defense Force, the guests that are viewing us online, all the colleagues from the CMA and the UWI, members of the media, good afternoon to you all. Before I begin my sort of prepared remarks, let me take advantage of this opportunity to congratulate and to celebrate the leadership, the men and the women of the Jamaica Defense Force for your tremendous contribution to keeping Jamaica safe, particularly through these last 9 months of the pandemic. As a nation and a Jamaican myself, I can assure you of our gratitude to you being on the front line in protecting our health and our livelihood. And I would not be happy without having this opportunity to say thanks to you all in person and to your colleagues throughout the country. So for this reason and so many others, I am pleased to express on behalf of the University of the West Indies our thanks to the leadership of the Jamaica Defense Force for your commitment to working with the university, not just in a superficial way, but in a deep and visceral way to build capacity not only for the JDF, but also across the region and the globe. As principal of the UWI Open Campus and recently appointed to oversee the Office of Global Affairs, which monitors our collaborative agreements, I was extremely happy for the invitation to participate in this groundbreaking launch and to also speak a little bit about what we have been doing under our Memorandum of Understanding. In addition, these days I don't get to go out much anymore. So I am so happy to be speaking with you face to face and not peering in a screen. Our MOU was signed early last year, and it has been quite active within the context of our agreements. And today I will focus on 3 areas that we have been working very closely on with the leadership of the CMA. In the MOU, Clause 5.1 speaks to looking at assessing the need for specific programs and outlining a course of action for future development. 5.2 speaks to building the capacity of the CMA through research and development of programs. And 5.3, facilitating the alignment of the military centers and the academy with the University of the West Indies Quality Assurance System. To date, we are extremely proud and pleased that the Graduate Certificate and Diploma in Junior Command and Staff Leadership Program has begun quite successfully with the support of the University of the West Indies Open Campus, which I head. And we have trained 27 facilitators and course coordinators in the period April to July of 2020. A total of 46 students are currently enrolled in the program, which began in September. And that is a very successful start, so I wish to congratulate you. And I wish to also say that the fact that this program was able to begin with very little delay during the time of the pandemic shows the power of online learning, the power of the Jamaica Defense Force, and the power of the UWI Open Campus. So we're very pleased that that program is going well. Building on this success, the Open Campus is excited to work with the JDF on the Initial Officers Training Program, which will benefit from yet another innovative approach, an approach that will look at micro-credentialing, where online programs can be structured in such a way to ensure that the officers can exit at various points with certification, which can then be built up towards a higher level degree program. This approach in higher education is becoming extremely popular, especially in the new digital age. It is referred to as stackable credentialing, or in the old days, people would say laddering. It is a flexible pathway to higher learning and will allow for our officers in training to balance their field training, their lives, and their academic career. In addition, in this program, students may have the opportunity to major or concentrate in areas dealing with maritime, land navigation, combat, etc. We're really excited to be a part of that program. Brigadier, thank you so much for collaborating with us. With regard to the alignment between the CMA and the UWI quality assurance systems, as you know, the University of the West Indies has a very rigorous quality assurance system. I am pleased to announce that having met with the CDS, the president, the registrar of the CMA, and other leaders, the University of the West Indies will be assigning 3 curriculum development specialists from the Mona and Open campuses, as well as a quality assurance officer from our quality assurance unit to work with your curriculum program planning and development team. This will help the CMA to develop more programs more rapidly, both at the certificate, undergraduate, and postgraduate levels, to enhance and extend the quality offerings of the CMA to the region and beyond. Our collaboration with the Jamaica Defense Force is of key importance to us. And I reiterate what my Vice Chancellor told me, that our commitment is to work closely with you to build capacity, to eventually see this academy become its own university and to be able to serve the world. As we battle with increased security risks in our region, man-made as well as natural, this is an important development for the Jamaica Defense Force. I close by congratulating the President and the leadership of the CMA for their vision, for this launch of the website, and for seeing themselves beyond what might seem to be a small, bordered environment. The vision of being the academic and training hub for small forces globally is one that we applaud. The IOTP, the website, and the other programs that you are putting on are clear manifestations of this vision, which is completely coherent with the UWI's own vision of being a global university rooted in the Caribbean. We are proud to partner with you and to ensure that our shared vision can and does become a reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lewis Longsworth. We are very happy that the University of the West Indies took on this partnership with this institution. So as an extension of the Jamaica Defense Force, a Caribbean Military Academy. And you know, as you spoke, and I looked at the logo, educate, empower, and evolve, that is what we all are about when we speak of education, and particularly in an institution such as this. Waddington said, might see some person seated in this very room with a PhD. You know, there are steps to go. Now, particularly for those persons who are watching from overseas, but also for Jamaicans at home, if you're online, we want to give you a peek into Jamaica. If you are on the continent of Africa, and I named the countries earlier on, then you might be saying, Jamaica, and I've heard about, I want you to look now at what we proudly call our own parts of our culture. This is Brand Jamaica. Have a look.
As children, we learn the true meaning of being a hero. Being a hero requires great sacrifice for others, not just ourselves. We learn about the heroes of Jamaica's past and how much of themselves and their lives they had to give in building a nation we should be proud to call home. They believed in a Jamaica that was more than just a country, more than just an island, more than land surrounded by water. They believed in a dream of a free nation of people, a nation built on the foundation of their sacrifices, a nation of many people working as one, a nation that would continue to produce legends and nation builders that serve towards that vision. As children, we were also taught the national pledge, a solemn promise, an undertaking. I would like to believe Sir Hugh Sherlock, while writing this pledge, understood the vision and dreams of our heroes. It's clear being a hero is too much to ever ask any one citizen. Luckily, the pledge does not require heroics of any of us. It merely asks that we honor our heroes by striving to advance our nation and ultimately inspire the world, like they and many Jamaicans have done. It's important we remember those words. These words. Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. If you are like me, a Jamaican born and raised on this land, maybe you will remember saying those words, singing that song in a classroom or some general assembly. If so, like me, you made a pledge. Somehow it seems like many of us have forgotten that. The crime and violence, the indiscipline and short-sightedness, the corruption, the lack of respect for beautiful lands we are blessed with, and the waters that surround and nurtures us. We have to do better. Let us honor our heroes so that they would not have sacrificed so much in vain. I hope this video can make a difference to even one soul. If so, it would all be worth it. If you feel the way I do, share it. May my voice become yours. Thanks for watching.
Jamaica, land we love. Our motto, out of many, one people. 14 parishes, and this information is for the non-Jamaicans. 2.8 million people. 2 cities, our first city, Kingston, and our other city, Montego Bay. Lots of what you've seen and so much more, which is why, and I should tell you, perhaps you've had a cup of Blue Mountain coffee. Well, Blue Mountain is the highest point in Jamaica, and the coffee is grown on the slopes there. That is why it is so iconic. Next time you ask for a cup of Blue Mountain coffee, then you'll remember Jamaica. And now it gives me pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Lieutenant Colonel Simon Westlake. If you'll allow me to say a few words about you, Lieutenant Colonel. Royal Marine officer with significant experience within operational and training environments, as a commander, staff officer, and in defense engagement with overseas partners. Extensive operational experience with a well-developed skill and depth of experience in policy and plans areas, training environments, budget, and wider resource management. Health and safety, command and leadership, human resource management, and the diplomatic field in overseas postings. And that is why he's the defense attaché here to speak with us this afternoon and bring greetings. Might I invite you to the microphone, sir? Could you welcome him for me, Lieutenant Colonel Simon Westlake.
Madam Faith, thank you very much. It's quite humbling to hear yourself spoken about in such terms. I'm President of the Caribbean Military Academy, Brigadier Mason, Principal of the University of West Indies Open Campus, Dr. Liz Longsworth, distinguished guests, 4 Sergeant Major, officers, men and women of Jamaica Defence Force, sirs, ma'ams, ladies, gentlemen, whether here present or online, good afternoon. And I will, if you'll forgive me, say Akwaba Madasipatu to my Ghanaian colleagues who are online at my posting prior to arriving here in Jamaica. Now, we've had a short video about the Initial Officer Training Programme, and I have been given just a few minutes to talk about that aspect of the CMA and the partnership with the United Kingdom. And so it is my great pleasure, indeed it's my honour to be here with you today for the formal launch of the Caribbean Military Academy website. And as the United Kingdom's Defence Attaché to the Caribbean, I have a clear understanding of the importance with which the United Kingdom holds our partnership with our Caribbean partners. Indeed, we have a vested interest, as I'm sure people will understand, given our constitutional responsibility to the United Kingdom territories. There is, as such, a sense of duty born out of responsibility from history and the contemporary relationships between our nations to sustain the defence relationship with our Caribbean partners in a manner that contributes to our collective security. Indeed, if you forgive me, I'll mention that last night the British Army Training Support Unit in Belize and the exercising troops of the Royal Dragoon Guards were again mobilised for the second time to support the Belize government's efforts to get aid to their people in the aftermath of Hurricane Peter and Iota. And RFA Argus, one of the 2 United Kingdom ships in the region, has just finished supporting relief efforts in Honduras, providing critical aviation support and offloading some 100 underslung loads of humanitarian stores. I believe that our commitment to our partners in the region is evident through our actions today. But as a military officer, I know, as many of my colleagues present here today, how significant initial officer training is. This is the pivotal period in any officer's career. It is the foundation upon which an officer builds their career, upon which their contribution to the defence and security of both nation and region is established. This period is the opportunity to shape an individual with strong personal attributes and impressive academic ability into the professional and capable future leader that our defence forces, indeed our countries, require. The modern world requires leaders who are agile of thought, confident in acting, and just in their decisions. A young officer must be supported to develop the conceptual capacity to identify the effective tactical course of action, the physical attributes to sustain their activities, and the moral fortitude to do what is right. And so the United Kingdom is extremely proud to be able to provide opportunities to many through the decades from across the Caribbean and the wider globe to develop in this way, whether at the Britannia Royal Naval College in Dartmouth, with the Commando Training Centre Royal Marines at Lympstone, with the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, and with the Royal Air Force at Cranwell. Indeed, some of the new generation of leaders from the region, including Jamaica, are just now embarking on their journey to commence training in these historic institutions for the next year. They will have the opportunity to develop both militarily and academically. We're proud to have the opportunity to share our experience and expertise with those of our partners in a two-way relationship. As such, the United Kingdom is extremely pleased to be able to support by sharing experience of the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst with the Caribbean Military Academy in collaborative work to establish this initial officer training program. Indeed, as I speak here, we have colleagues from the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst here present in the audience who are providing instruction and working in collaboration with an impressive cohort of instructors from the Caribbean Military Academy, an enthusiastic cohort of instructors from the CMA. These people will be pivotal in shaping the new generation of young officers, the future leaders, through this initial officer training program. And I certainly applaud the partnership that's been established with the University of West Indies. This reflects the significance of the academic pillar of military training. This type of partnership is key in developing the conceptual capacity of our people. Our young leaders must possess determination, courage, a sense of duty, and selflessness. And it is those qualities that I see coming through in the approach taken to establish the initial officer training program. I commend the work that is being undertaken to ensure delivery of a program that develops the conceptual, physical, and moral components that will deliver professional and capable young officers ready to serve their nations, their communities, and working collaboratively with their neighbours. And I wish to take this moment to recognise the courage of the political leadership to resource this programme and the determination and sense of duty evident amongst the senior military leadership of the Jamaican Defence Force, led by Lieutenant General Rocky Meade as Chief of Defence Staff and indeed Brigadier Mason as President of the CMA, in driving this programme forward, because forward it is most certainly going. It is this courage, determination and sense of duty that will ensure the success of both this initial officer training program, which this website provides a window into, but most importantly, the success of future generations of young officers generated by the Caribbean Military Academy. I wish all of those involved and all of those from across the region and the globe yet to embark on the life-changing journey that is initial officer training every good fortune for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Colonel Simon Westlake. And I'm happy, based on what you've said, that the partnership has been going very well so far. Thank you very much. And you know, for an occasion such as this, when we're focusing on the website of the Caribbean Military Academy, it's good to hear what persons have to say about this institution and what they're doing here. So let's have a look at the screens.
I arrived in Sanders in January of 2002 to a very different climate. I'm used to my tropical country where it's warm all year round.
It was extremely cold, which wasn't something that was necessarily comfortable for me.
I mean, new atmosphere, new temperature, new surrounding, but I had to acclimatize and get myself settled in. Newcastle played a very important part in me settling in for the first term.
But what made it a lot easier for me as an overseas cadet was the fact that there were other international students there, as well as the fact that the directing staff were trained and they were used to having cadets like us there who were unfamiliar with how the British system worked. So this made life a lot easier for us. Throughout the year, it was very fast-paced. However, that made things only a bit more interesting. There was a lot more to learn for us as cadets.
The staff there made my experience very warm and they were welcoming. There was never a moment when I felt out of place.
The commissioning course is revered across the world. It taught me a number of things. The main principles were relating to officership, what an officer should be. So the principles relating to command, being an example, and being responsible for your operations as an officer in the military.
Sanders is big on leadership. Sanders brought out the leadership skills and the lessons that I was taught there. Also, the regime in Sanders, it's very high-paced. So coming into 1JR, it was just perfect because the regime is similar.
Sanders for me was very good. I learned a lot, especially from a leadership standpoint. My company sergeant major always told us every opportunity that he got that we're not here to build leaders. The leadership quality must be embedded in you, the individual. And then what we will do is help you to realize that potential based on what the company commander said. I was already a born leader. And that has been exemplified in every single thing that I did at Sandhurst.
What I learned at Sandhurst from the numerous exercises that we had to do was pretty much the very same battle procedure that we had to go through here. And so this helped a lot. Outside of just the operational side of things, it also taught about mess life and how to live in the mess, how to get along with your peers.
What is also fresh in my mind is one of the most challenging navigation exercises that I had to do. It was actually not at Sandhurst, but we went to the Black Mountains in Wales, and it was the first time I was climbing so high on any mountain. But in addition to the height that I had to endure, I had to deal with the challenges of the cold. And I was coming down a mountainside and I slipped and I started sliding down the mountainside, and I thought that was it. But lo and behold, I managed to stick my heels in and I stopped. And my colleagues came and pulled me up. I had a man pack on my back, so it was very challenging to get up, but they did pull me up. So I remember that particular navigation exercise of what they want to achieve and the final product that the organization wants in terms of an officer. I can tell you, whilst it is very close to excellent, it is a very useful format. The Royal Military Academy Sandhurst is a premier training institution for the British Army. And I think if we model right after that particular way in which Sandhurst does their training, then we should be very well on our way in producing our own officers at the required standard, ready for work in the Jamaica Defence Force.
Well, you heard it. I don't know if any of those persons who spoke are in the room this afternoon. Are you there? No, not seeing? All right. Thank you very much. Now, it is time for us to hear from our keynote speaker. I'm going to have to say a few words about you, sir. I don't think I want to focus on the fact that you're a former member of the national under-16 football team in 1986, but I want to tell you that anyway. Let me get on to his life in the Jamaica Defense Force and training that this meant for him. So Brigadier Mason attended premier military training institutions, including the United States Army War College and the Defense Academy of the United Kingdom. He is formally, he's had several posts, but the Joint Task Force Commander and Brigade Commander of the Jamaica Regiment, responsible for coordinating the land operations of the force. His previous appointment was the Acting Colonel General Staff, with responsibility for operations, training, intelligence, and civil military affairs. Brigadier Raj Mason is a former member of the football team. I want to tell you that because sports and being fit is important for him. But right now, we want to acknowledge him as president of the Caribbean Military Academy, coordinating the delivery of accredited programs for the Jamaica Defense Force. Will you welcome him to the lectern at this time?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Dr. Laws Longsworth, Pro Vice Chancellor and the Principal of the UWI Open Campus, Lieutenant Colonel Simon Westlake, UK Defense Attaché to the Caribbean, members of the General Staff Board, other officers, Force Major, senior enlisted ranks, other service members, distinguished guests, and very importantly, our regional and other partners streaming online. Good afternoon. I extend greetings to our valued friends to this, our official launch of the website of the Caribbean Military Academy, and indeed our look into our next flagship project, the Initial Officer Training Program, IOTP 2021-01. Today I salute the United Kingdom, represented here by our own Defense Attaché, also the Commandant of the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, the University of the West Indies, represented here by Dr. Longsworth, the University of Reading, for collaborating with us on this awesome project. To date, the Caribbean Military Academy coordinates 73 programs across 8 schools and across 7 newly named campuses in 4 parishes of Jamaica. In partnership with the Hard Trust NSTA, our most recent programs involve us engaging youth in the western parishes at CMA Montego Bay in automotive training, technical vocational skills, and simulator-based certification in the operation of heavy-duty equipment. And this launch will take place at the end of this week. Schools and programs next in line include the Joint Services Senior Command and Staff College, which will stand up in September 2021 through a partnership with the Royal Military College. Also, the Caribbean Military School of Music will be stood up early next year, also in partnership with the University of the West Indies. The Caribbean Institute of Cyber Science stands up also in 2021. And I'm happy to have Brigadier Roderick Williams in audience with us, who's pioneering that particular project. The game-changing concept of the Caribbean Military Academy defies other institutional models by delivering tertiary-level academic and vocational programs to service members, partner nations, law enforcement agencies, and the at-risk youth population of Jamaica. The current situation in our own country does not escape our attention, and the mandate of the Chief of Defense Staff is clearly that research and education constitutes a capability for the Jamaica Defense Force. Our concept synchronizes program delivery by specialization throughout the career path of service members and according to a building block of accredited military and foundation courses. Through the life and service of our service members, they will eventually attain tertiary level academic and vocational qualifications and thereby be able to contribute more whilst in service and when they depart our institution. The website project represents a natural step towards the CMA connecting and influencing the region and impacting the world. Thanks to our developer, Mr. Orain Johnson, and Team CMA, much work went into the designing and also the informative and interactive interface to afford excellent student interaction. And of course, by so doing, Dr. Longsworth would be very pleased that we will have achieved one important aspect of our quality assurance by being able to interact with our student population. The key website components comprise a great array of images depicting all aspects of our facilities and schools at work. Please explore the linkages to the websites of the Jamaica Defense Force, the Government of Jamaica, the University of the West Indies, Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, other key partner institutions, all listed in the base banner. Other major components derived through a friendly interface with a double-layer menu set covering our history, mission, vision, core values, and motto in our About Us tab. Additionally, details of our registrar's office, campuses and schools, programs, students' affairs, and our alumni are all aligned to offer information to students and our valued stakeholders. The CMA login takes currently enrolled students to our learning management system following the authentication protocols. Further, the events publication, CMA News, our military museum, and library services all aim to keep our readers abreast of the volatile information and research space. We have acquired the program ProQuest, which enables our students to conduct research on a wide scale. Furthermore, the academic calendar provides the schedule for programs by semester for the current and the next academic year. Finally, our student register enables the collection of information about students towards better administration and planning. Most importantly, I draw your attention to the Leadership tab under our programs, and this gives all the details of our upcoming Initial Officers Training Program. And so, in 1993, giving you some history, we dared to repatriate the Junior Staff College. And this training further developed into our Caribbean Institute of Professional Military Education, officially established in 2009. In 2003, we established the Caribbean Military Technical Training Institute, CMM-TTI. In December 2006, we established the Caribbean Military Aviation School. In 2009 initially, and then formally in 2018 through the collaboration with our Canadian partners, we formed the Caribbean Special Tactics School. In 2012, we launched the Caribbean Military Maritime Training Center. In 2017, we launched the Jamaica National Service Corps. So today, very importantly, we announce the next step in the provocation of revolutionary thinking. We embark on a mission to provide a year-long initial basic officers training program, leading to qualifications for an undergraduate certificate in leadership, whilst meeting the standards of the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. On completion of 1 year, students are set on a path to earn an undergraduate degree in leadership through part-time study. The academic program formulates through our partnership with the University of the West Indies online campuses. The schedule is on track for standing up the school in January of 2021, and for us to receive our first cohort of 100 students to start training in April 2021. This event aims to sensitize our stakeholders and partner nations to facilitate forward planning, and we will provide notification for the official launch of this program next year. The Royal Military Academy Sandhurst is the foremost basic officer training institution in the world. I'm not sure my Marine counterpart is still with me. It has an undeniable reputation for excellence and a strong culture of leadership. As a proud graduate of the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, as young as I may appear, I would have entered those halls in January of 1990. SMC 901. I must confess, however, that I far enjoy the Academy's football and cricket programs much more than the time spent in the forestry in Wales. As we go forward into this exciting program, please share with us as we invite our partners to help us from across the region, around the world, with instructors, students, to make this effort greater and stronger as we strive for excellence. I close by, on behalf of the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Rocky Meade, extend our tremendous appreciation for the partnership that we enjoy with the United Kingdom, with our own University of the West Indies, and all our partners for continuing to believe, for continuing to invest, for continuing to understand the great potential of the people of Jamaica, the great potential of the Jamaica Defense Force, and indeed, the great potential of the premier military training institution of the region, the Caribbean Military Academy. We will work assiduously to make this effort and our larger mandate a resounding success. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, President Brigadier Raj Mason. I didn't realize so many wonderful things were happening. 73 programs, 73, 8 schools, 7 campuses. Well, the Caribbean Military Academy is certainly moving with the times and moving with necessity. We've come pretty close to the close of the afternoon's program. I do have here some questions and answers that might come up at this time. If you have them, we'll allow you a few minutes to ask them. I see some colleagues from the media here. I'm not certain if Mr. Sergio has anything you know. All right, so that's been clear. Are there any questions or comments from anyone seated in our midst? Now, for those persons who are online, you may want to post your questions and your comments to the Caribbean Military Academy so that they can, in fact, answer those questions, whether you're from the region or you are from the continent of Africa. There are countries there that are online at this time, and they will certainly attend to you. I am now going to just thank you all for being here and thank the members of the Caribbean Military Academy for moving education in the way that they are doing, which is they educate, they empower, and then you evolve, the individuals evolve, and the partnerships that have come together to make this happen. Because we can't really accomplish much in life without partnerships, whether on our own or in an institution such as this. So congratulations again to the Caribbean Military Academy. The website is there. Remember, the programs and the schools and all of that you can go on and see, and they're moving to the place where you'll be able to register on that website. Thanks again, and do have a good afternoon. Thank you.
you.